Hi, I'm Steve. You're watching Gear Stuff and Things, and today on the channel we are going to check out and take a little tour of my buddy Micah's studio in Troy, Ohio. It's called Popside Recording, and yeah, let's get in there and check it out. All right, so this is my dude Micah, and this is his studio, Popside.
Howdy, welcome.
Hello.
Name's Micah Carley. This is my studio, Popside Recording. Welcome, and yeah, let me show you around a little bit.
All right. Well, you want to start with basically where you're sitting?
Okay. So here's my little desk. Don't have anything too grand yet, but build a little thing to accommodate the pieces of outboard gear I have. You know, some EQs, compression, preamps, kind of just a basic Soundcraft board right now. I bought a second board, but I haven't had the time yet to install it.
Gotcha. What compressors, EQs, things of that nature are you using?
I have a couple of LA610s that are like channel strips, as well as this Jovic twin channel. So those are kind of all inclusive, you know, pre's, compressors, EQ. And over here I've got some API mic pre's, some of the 500 series. A nice DBX 162 SL I use, so this is kind of my vocal chain. My typical vocal chain is a API mic pre, then I do some fine crafting with the API 560 graphic EQ, do a little bit of compression to tape as well, and I find that's a good, like, robust vocal sound, at least for me here.
Sure. Which board are you? You said it was a Soundcraft board?
This is Soundcraft. This is just actually a really basic board, mostly used for live. I actually bought it used from some church that was upgrading, and I didn't really intend to have it use it for as long as I have, but it's functional, it sounds good, and it works well. So, like, I've never had any issues. As I said, I'm in the process of upgrading to a nice 50-channel Sound Workshop board, but that's a little beyond my skill set, and nor do I have the extra time for it at the moment. So.
Got it. What monitors are you running? Looks like you got some NS10s going.
Yeah, some classic Yamaha NS10s. Those are interesting monitors. I'm sure everybody knows them. Like, they have a sound to them, and nothing else does it quite like that. So you kind of need them to measure certain frequencies.
Yeah. Mid-range
specifically, I find, is like it's a great way to measure mid-range. And then I use some Mackie HR824s. I don't know what the newer model is of that, but that's been around for years, and you know, for the price point, it's actually like really soft on the ear, or like, you know, easy on the ears, not too intense, but good full frequency. Then I also do have a Yamaha sub down there just to help get some of those subs in there, the sub frequencies, make sure I know what I'm doing, not blow anybody's car out.
Nice. Want to show me through some amps? There's a lot of them.
Sure, yeah. So I was a guitar player when I toured professionally, and definitely had an issue saying no to impulsive gear purchases. But I rationalized it because it was my job.
Right.
So yeah, a little bit of everything. You know, I was kind of raised on a lot of classic rock stuff, so I definitely have a soft spot for that classic Marshall sound, and I've got like a 59 SLP and a JTM 45 for like the older Hendrixy, AC/DC stuff. But then 900 and 800 will cover most of your rock and punk and even some metal stuff. Framus head, Framus is a little bit of a deeper cut, not everybody knows that, but they got a cool sound too. It's a unique gain structure, a little gritty, and the heads are real nice. Sears Silvertone, that's like just a classic kind of Jack White sound. You know, you need that raw, nasty tone. Put a big muff in front of that, and you're golden. You don't have to do much anything else.
Right.
Orange Rockaverb 100, classic head. Also, like that orange sound, that British mid-range. It's just, it's delicious, honestly. Mesa. I like Mesa. I was never a huge Mesa fan. Like some of the, you know, there's dividing camps there, but
right.
This is one of the single channel ones, or just 2 channels, excuse me. Not the 3 channel ones. And for some reason, like, they sound way better to me. And this is like an early 90s version, and it's one of my favorite ones I've used. And so when you need that sound, this is the best version of it that I've found, that I prefer.
Nice.
This is probably one of my favorites, is this high watt. It's a custom high watt 100, and the 2 channels have been jumped, so you can, you know, use them both simultaneously. and I think it's a 72, and like that amp, I mean, if you need that British sound, that the Who, David Gilmour kind of sound, it is perfect for that. But also like something about that gain structure, like if I need a lead tone to cut through a mix, that will cut through anything, no matter how sludgy or thick the distortion is, that will always cut through.
Nice.
Definitely recommend that if you have the ability to find one. Then I got a couple Soldanos. I've used these live for a bit too. This is a Hot Rod 50, and then this is the SLO 100. That's kind of the flagship model.
Yeah.
Great amps. Kind of in the between the Mesa and Marshall tones. You know, like high gain of Mesa, but the mid-range and warmth of Marshall.
Yeah.
This Agnator, I got traded to by this guy holding the camera.
Yeah.
Many years ago, and it's a great little thing too. Like for what, a 40 watt amp, it's like got some great balls and a lot of nice variation in it too.
Yeah.
Great tones.
They're great amps.
Then yeah, a couple of bass amps. You know, classic SPT Classic Ampeg. This PV2 thing. They sent me that, and it was like, sounds actually pretty awesome. You get some cool tones. This is a Music Man HD 130. Which is a little, you know, most people don't know Music Man amps necessarily. They obviously know the basses, but Leo Fender started that company after he left Fender, and so it is essentially a Fender Bassman, like the specs, and it's just classic sound. I think it's also like a 72, 73, something like that.
Nice.
And then a classic 5150 PV block letters. That's, you know, for that sound, there's no substitute if you need that hardcore, old school metal sound.
Yeah.
And then I just picked this up recently too. So a buddy of mine was getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff, and so this is old 67, 68 custom 250 head. It's got like built-in fuzz and tremolo and reverb.
Wow.
Yeah, it got some gnarly tones and very cool 60s stuff. Yeah.
Very cool. What's going on top of the bass amp is there?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. This is just an Avalon DI box. So you know, whenever I'm tracking anything, guitar or bass, I like to take a clean DI as well, just for recording purposes. It's nice to have, but also in case you make a mistake and need to reamp anything. For editing, yeah. So, and that's a nice DI box too. Little on the pricier side for DIs, but like it's got a really good sound to it.
Awesome. You want to run through some guitar stuff there?
Sure.
Show me whatever you like.
Okay. So here's a collection of guitars I keep out. I usually encourage people to bring their equipment when they come here, but you're welcome to use anything I have as well. Because I have some nice vintage equipment. This is an old 70-something, early 70s 335, and I got it for like half price because it had a headstock repair, but I don't give a shit about that. It still plays and sounds amazing,
right? But
the resale value is shit, so who cares? And then this was actually like my first electric guitar, just a cheap Mexican-made Strat, but been with me for many years, and still has the feel and sound I'm looking for. You know, Gretsch 6120 was kind of the classic Brian Setzer sound, and well, that is his signature model too. Nice Tele Deluxe when you need that. It's great for that in-between Fender and Gibson sound. You know, it's got the humbuckers, but it's the Fender humbuckers too. So it's still bright and bristly like a Fender, but got a little bit more balls than just a single coil Tele or Strat would.
Nice.
Couple of Les Pauls. I got a 79 custom, Firebird 5.
You got a lot of stuff over here. You don't have to show me it all, but there's kind of the gist of it.
There's a whole lot, yeah. Another early 72 P bass too. That has been on almost so many of my records because
I've used it on a few.
One of the best sounding basses I've ever had the luxury of using, unfortunately. And then I also I had an issue with Firebird
Explorers
there for a while. Yeah. Couldn't say no and played them live, so yeah, that's why I have 5 of them. Different varying ages and makes, but a little bit of everything, you know. Awesome. Bass with flat wounds on it. If you need that cool 60 sound, it's got a Rickenbacker 312, nice. 360-12, excuse me. A little bit of everything. All right, so continuing in my excessive and compulsive guitar buying phase, I also procured quite a few pedals. And I also like to organize them, so I have like modulation effects right here, distortions, fuzzes, overdrives, things like that. These are all reverbs and delays, and then these are kind of utility stuff, compressors, channel splits, things like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I just try to, people often ask like, what's your favorite one? Favorite guitar, favorite amp, favorite pedal, whatever. And it's about finding the right tool for the right job. Depends what you're doing, really.
Right.
Like when you need a hammer, a screwdriver doesn't work, but that doesn't mean a screwdriver's not a good tool. And so it really just depends what you're going for. And that's why it's nice to have a good variety, so I can really fine tailor the tone for the part, for the project, how the person plays. There's so many variables. And I like a lot of basics, a lot of classics. Tube screamer I use all the freaking time, and muffs and rat, and here's one of the like original Pogs that have all 10 of those sliders, and a couple of those are broken off because I toured with it too. But, yeah, the small Electro Harmonics, actually we had to deal with them for a little while, and so I have I think I ordered like 15 pedals from them at once. It's been a pricey penny, but they make some amazing stuff. For sure. Honestly, that like micro synth. I've never seen a flanger pedal that has more going on.
That's pretty wild.
But for some reason, they feel like it needs that kind of control. Anyway, cool sound though.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to check out the live room here?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. All right, well, you start it where you want.
Okay, so this is my live room, and I keep all our guitar cabs, all my guitar cabs and combo amps in here. Usually the player is in there with me, but we have the amps that's in here mic'd up. Also, yeah, just kind of a nice variety. Marshall, Mesa, Orange, Frame, Soldano. A lot of the amps, the same brands that you just saw in the control room.
Yeah.
Fender Twin, Bassman, Vox AC30, Jazz Chorus 120s, just a lot of the classic basic amp sounds.
Gotcha. What's the Tweed guy over there?
That's actually just a carbon 212 Bel Air. Yeah.
Nice.
The nameplate broke off, so I just it's not some like vintage awesome one, but I've had that for a long time, and it's got a great like old Tweed sound. Remember I bought it in like mid 90s. And it was an amp that Joe Walsh was endorsing. So for me, I was like, all right, well, I got to play that. Kind of silly, but whatever.
If you like it, you like it.
A handful of acoustic guitars in here. I usually record our acoustic instruments in here. So I've got like, some Gibsons. Got a Gibson SJ200, J45. A couple of old-timey Stella Harmony guitars. Like they have a cool sound. They're hard as fuck to play and tune, but nothing sounds like an instrument that's actually 7 years old and
for sure.
And probably cost $100 a bend too.
Cool.
Yeah. Then usually Micah drums here. I have a few kits here. I have a Ludwig Classic Maple. A Gretsch Renown, and then also an SJC custom kit, and then a handful of snares as well. And I've had enough experience in this room that the room doesn't look too impressive, but it's got a sound to it, and I know how to use the room and get a nice big drum sound. Gotcha. That you need sometimes,
Yeah, you get great results out of your drum recordings. What mics and stuff are you using here?
Okay, yeah, I've got, so obviously the kit's a little. I think the last person used my kit but brought his cymbals. That's why the cymbals are removed right now.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I use this is like probably one of my more basic setups, traditional setups, like an AKG D112 on the kick, on the sound hole or inside, a large diaphragm condenser on the outside. That's a Shure KSM 27. I like, snares, on the snare, SM57s, top and bottom generally. Sometimes I put a small diaphragm condenser on the top as well if you need a little bit more articulation. Sennheiser 421s on toms. Sound pretty damn good to me, and it's a staple. It has been for decades.
For sure.
These are also Shure KSM 27s on the tops. Sometimes I do 32s or AKG 414s as well.
Okay.
And then Shure SM81s I would use to spot mic the hats and ride typically. So that's kind of like my basic setup.
You got some others over here?
Yeah, I do have some room mics that I just decided to go ahead and install. I found it was wasting time to get them out and install wire them up each time. So I just went ahead. And I've changed these a bit too. Sometimes I use C414s for that. I think right now these are actually just MXL, I forget the model number, but they're like kind of a low-level ribbon mic. Gotcha. And it's got just a nice, warm, trashy sound, and you know, pretty cheap too, so you don't have to worry about it as much.
So you got a couple of organs, keyboards?
Yeah, I've got a few keyboards. This is an old Baldwin, like a 1923, 22, something like that. It was like my buddy's grandmother got this for her birthday when she was, you know, 8 years old, whatever. And like real ivory keys, and they're all like, you know, a bunch of them are chipped off because it's a 100-year-old instrument. But it's got such a great old-timey indie sound, and I learned how to tune the instrument enough to get by. So I can't do it as well as people who've been doing it for years, but I can do it well enough that it sounds cool. It sounds good enough. Then this is a 1960 Hammond M100, which it's very comparable to, well, it's sometimes called the Baby B, B3, excuse me. So it's got a shortened keyboard and a few less drawbars, I think, than the normal B300, right. Excuse me. But that one's obviously also thousands of dollars and much sought after. And this thing honestly sounds fantastic. I do have a small Leslie cab over here. It's not one of the sought after ones. It just has the rotating drum. Yeah. But I have rented like a proper like Leslie 122 or something like that, and put this through it, and it sounds identical to just a great Hammond organ sound.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. That's a nice pickup.
Awesome. Let's check out your little booth here.
Sure. So here's a little vocal booth I put together. You know, try to make somebody comfortable, but also hopefully a little isolation too. Right. A little headphone, like little Furman headphone setup over here, and then right now I've got a CAD E300 mic up here. This is a mic actually I stumbled onto years ago. Actually, we were working on a record in LA, and you know, money was no object. They were pulling out, you know, Neumanns and like an $8,000 Sony mic or whatever, and then they pulled out this one. I was like, what the hell is that? And they told me that, oh yeah, that's like a $400 microphone, and it honestly, we ended up using that sometimes over the other ones. And so obviously that's in my budget, more so than you know, about $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 microphones. Sure. Yeah, sounds fantastic. Very full sounding. Recommend you check it out sometime if you're in the market for a good one. Awesome. Good vocal mic. All right. Well, thanks so much for showing me around your spot here. I appreciate you stopping in. Thanks for watching and taking a look. And yeah, hit me up sometime. I'd love to maybe work with you in the future. Sure. I appreciate it very much. All right, so that was Popside Recording in Troy, Ohio. Thank you so much to Micah for taking the time out of his day to let me walk around and check out all his stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you are in the Ohio area or somewhere adjacent to Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, so on and so forth, and you are interested in working with Micah, I will put links in the description to his website as well as emails, things of that nature for booking time. And yeah, thanks so much for checking it out. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If this is something you'd like to see more of, I will get in touch with more of my studio owning buddies and do more of these studio tour things. So as usual, it's me, it's you. This is Gear Stuff and Things. This is the inside of a Kia. And yeah, see you next time.